Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Locked and Loaded, where we keep you locked and loaded with all. I couldn't do it. I almost had it. I almost made it. Keep you locked and loaded with all the information that we can gather about anything that's going on. As always, is my co-host Javis. Javis, how you doing today?
Doing great, you guys. Doing fantastic.
I think he's in the Matrix. Did you also just see his hands move the way he did? Wow. Actually, it's reminds me of Enter the Dragon. Um, is it Enter the Dragon? I forgot the name of it. Anyway, we're gonna do a show and I called it oh boy,
Worries a
because
virtue. Sorry.
oh my
Do
gosh,
you
I forgot about
remember
Warriors of
that?
Virtue. I just hate the part where he goes yoo-hoo, and it's, oh my gosh, just stupid parts in this. I
I
think it's a
gotta
good
rewatch that
movie.
movie.
I was like
Last time I
18.
saw it, I was a kid, man.
Last time I felt like I saw it, I was a kid, so I don't know how to take that. But wow, it brought back some memories,
Bunch
Javis.
of
You always do that.
kangaroos.
And nothing became of it. Everyone was like, "I hope they do more," and I'm like,
Yes.
they're not gonna do more. They barely fought. It was like all these cool moves, and then it was time to fight. And the moves weren't there when they were fighting. So
I want to know how much they spent on like hair and makeup. Jeez.
$5. They use real kangaroos.
There's a bunch of injuries on set.
hmm
The
That's why
kangaroos
at the
kicking
end of every
people.
movie, it was like you see the Humane Society, and it's like kangaroo hopping. That's what happened. They started that whole process.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to us. Put a message in the comments if you've seen Warriors of Virtue. Because that was a huge movie growing up, man.
It was not.
It was a huge movie to in heart to the people that saw it.
No heart there at all. I
There's
actually really did like it. I thought it was a good movie,
yes.
but it just it was going somewhere and it didn't continue to go. So it got off the tracks, and I don't even know how to describe it. I can't stand certain bad guys. A good movie has to have a good bad guy, and that's
Yeah.
always been the problem. The reason why I feel Black Panther was so good was because of the bad guy. If they
Hmm.
did not have a good bad guy, Black Panther would not have been good. And
Yeah.
I've always felt that way. You have Black Panther, it's just a great movie by itself. But what made it phenomenal was the bad guy in the movie.
Hmm.
I've always been a fan of having a good bad guy. And the Warriors of Virtue, that guy was just your regular typical bad guy. There was no effort into it at all. Which is why I ended up liking Fast 10, because Fast 10 was the same movie all over again, but with a good bad guy. Jason Momoa plays an incredible bad guy. So much so that people are thinking that he should be getting an Oscar for this movie because of how good it was. And he literally, when he did his scenes, I literally thought, oh my gosh, he could play the Joker. That's where I was with it. And like he took that character into a whole new world, and he put everybody like just on the heels of what they can normally do, and like he sold that. But that is a Jason Momoa movie featuring the cast of Fast 10, and I will never deny that, because everybody else's character is the same as they always been, but this dude went above and beyond and brought like literally actual life into this film. So well, that's our show, everybody. Thank you so much for.
My other side note is Joe needs to do, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Joe needs to do a Fast and Furious podcast because there's been 10 movies. There's so much to talk about. For those of us that still need to get into it, for those of us that are interested, and for the fan base that has been there from the beginning, every single person I know that's seen one of the movies has seen all of the movies. Like it's a fan base that is just so die hard that it wouldn't do anything but succeed. So I think you
Yeah.
need to do it.
Okay, I'll do it. There we go. Yay! It's called "When You're Here, Your Family." The Tales of Olive Garden.
every every other scene in the damn movie that someone is saying that.
Yeah, someone had counted it. He said family like 43 times in the last movie, so it's just like, oh my gosh. What about
Oh,
friendship, Don? No, no friendship, just
just
family.
family. Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna change all the slogans that are out there and put family in there. Like, Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just family. Arby's, we have the family.
But what for today? Why was there just a dead space?
Because I thought you were
Jesus.
gonna say something to start what we're supposed to be talking about, and then you were like, you were like that, like you get ready to get off the phone, like have a good day. What the heck is going on? We got a
No
show today. What
idea.
are we talking about today, James?
I don't know. There's a couple things we could talk about. There's one of the big things in I want to say fan history. I was about to say fanboy, but fanboy, fangirl, whatever, nerd shit. That's what I call it. But Nathan Fillion has officially been cast as Green Lantern in James Gunn's new kingdom world of DC that he's building. So definitely want to talk about that. Then we have this this giant
Which
strike.
Green Lantern?
I don't know. I mean, it's got to be Hal Jordan. Um, wait, how is it Hal? Yeah, no, Hal Jordan is not the black one, is it? I don't remember which one is which. To be perfectly honest with you, I gotta look it up.
Why does
Um,
Kal-El sound like Hal? Kal-El. No, never mind. Continue.
but yeah, then we have this huge writer strike that came out of nowhere, and how the hell is that gonna affect everything?
What do you mean it came
Everything
out
that
of nowhere? It's been going on for months.
the writer strike for writers has been going on for months, but now you have this actor strike that came out of nowhere, and
Oh,
apparently
there's an
actors,
actor strike now?
yes, they today, as of today, they have joined the writers in the street with pickets and everything. Production has halted. They are not allowed to do war shows. They are not allowed to do promotions for movies. They're not allowed to be on the set. It's done. Like everything is.
Right.
If it wasn't already slated to come out, it ain't coming out. Whatever it is, and that's
Great.
movies, that's TV shows, that's everything. And I want to pick your brain to see how you feel about that and how that's going to affect the future of everything. We all know what happened when the last writer strike happened, and it literally destroyed every and any content that was coming out. So with writers and actors joining hands together, because the actors have a whole list of demands on their own, have nothing to do with the writers, but they have joined them and said, we want our stuff, writers want their stuff, we're not going anywhere till you give us both what we're asking for. What does this mean? What is going to happen? How is this going to change the future of content? Everyone's saying, turn on your TVs. Reality shows are about to come back in a major way.
Well, the same thing that happened last time will happen this time. It'll be it's a brand new day and the sun is high. All the birds are singing that you're gonna die.
What is
Was that
that?
regular? Come on,
Oh,
Jay.
is that Dr. Horrible sing along vlog?
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
came about the last strike.
Well, I mean, who did Joss? Well, Joss Whedon's been canceled, so that
Hmm.
can't happen again. So it's
His
gonna have to
brother
be
can do it.
so it's gonna have to be somebody else.
It'll be his brother. Like Josh will be feeding him the lines, and then is it Jeb Weedon will be
Yes.
saying what's supposed to be happening since he's canceled. Honestly, I am so happy this is happening. It needs to happen. One, because it's going to get us more viewers, because there's not going to be any content going on. But that's my
Very
selfish reason.
true. Very true.
But the good reason is people are getting paid what they're supposed to be getting paid. It's affecting everything, and I didn't realize there's just something to the fact that I'm seeing people that are writers creating these shows that I like, and then when they get their check, I'm like, how's it I'm making more money than you? That bothers me. Their creativity goes beyond bounds of what they can do, and it really shows how stuff cannot get done if it's not written properly. Our stuff is just live off the cuff, and we get blessed because there's no script behind it. But I've been trying, like even doing my other show about me doing cruises and stuff. It's hard trying to write this stuff. But if I had someone that was actually writing for me, it'd make a major difference in the quality of what I'm producing. writing is extremely helpful. Writing allows you to create a storyline that's never been done before, and then to create a great story and then have a great actor bring that together. That's phenomenal stuff. So if you're going to do it, pay the people what they're asking for. And you got to really, the bigger question is, why aren't they getting paid what they're supposed to be getting paid? Who has the money and is screwing them out of getting their actual payment? And that's the bigger issue. Like, if you solve that one right there, takes care of everything. This is a no-brainer to me, and it's always been a no-brainer to me that every year that you do your job or you do it great, you get paid more. And that's in every industry out there that's dealing with private sectors and things like that. Hey, you did what this year? You completed all these tasks, you got all this stuff done, you made our business grow. Hey, here's a bonus, here's a pay raise. That's what you're supposed to do. But when it comes to these writers and these actors and things like that, it's like you wrote all this, you created this great story. Here's a check for $500, and if you ask me, if you get upset about it, I'm kicking you off, and I'll bring somebody else on. That's their rules, and people have lived with it. But now you can't live off the money that you're making being that creative. So if you can't
Mhm.
make a living off of being that creative, something has to be done, and that's exactly what's happening now. Something is being done, and they're going to have to overhaul everything and bring up the pricing on everything. But to go along with what you're saying, because I know the actors are including TV shows and things of that nature, I'll be honest, I'm not jumping up ever to go to the movie theater ever again. It's gotten so I realized that I spent, I think, almost $100 going to the movies, because if you go with someone, both of
And that,
y'all eat, both of
yeah.
y'all get something to drink, and you pay for the movie tickets, you're clearing about $100 by the time it's time to leave. And I'm like, for 2.5 hours, $100, that don't add up to me, because I can take that $100 and do something else with it. Um,
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, that was very personal for you right there. But
No, it is very true for someone that doesn't get paid a lot. And then my favorite, and people ask me, "Hey, why don't you go see this movie? Why don't you go?" Because I gotta pick and choose which ones I really want to see on the
yes,
big screen. It's too
yes,
expensive for me to see every single one that I want
yes,
to see. There are some movies that I really did want to see, but I already know there's something else I want to see a month later, and I'm not spending $100 out of my paycheck to go see two movies. I just can't afford that.
yeah.
So, and there's a comedian. Actually, I forget her name. It's the woman from uh, uh, oh my God, what's the name of that show? Something Elementary. Um,
Abbott Elementary.
Abbott Elementary. The woman that plays the principal. I was watching her stand up, and she was talking about how she gave her son $40 or something like that, and he was just like, "I'm gonna treat you to a movie," and she was like, "Okay, that's fine." And the entire time he's going, he's thinking that he's gonna treat her to a movie. He's gonna get money for the movie as well, and he's going to have all this money left over because her son is younger. And she was talking about how his face and his demeanor changed throughout the day as they're paying for everything for the movie: two popcorns, two drinks, two slushies, some candy, and then the movie tickets. And she said the entire time in the movie, he's not even enjoying it. He keeps turning to her and going, you know, slushies are just nothing but syrup and ice. I don't know why they make us pay so much for it. And he's just going over in his head why it costs so dang much just to go to a movie. And she was just like, it's the moment that a young person's mind is shattered into realizing how much of a luxury going to a movie is. And
Yes.
it's just an incredible amount of money. And you look at how much money these studios, these directors, these
Mm-hmm.
people are raking in, and you're just like, damn, you're telling me there's nothing for these people, there's nothing for them to take home to their families? That's BS to me.
It is, and
Complete
then on top
BS.
of that, you got to ask yourself the question: if they do cave in and give the people what they want, how much they gonna be charging us now? Now all of a sudden, the movie that was costing us $20, $30 to get into is now costing us 40 to get into, and I'm like, I'm not trying to hear that. Rules are very simple, regulations are very simple, policies are very simple, and then trying to abide by them is what makes it difficult. And in my opinion, they're trying to sit there and not show the love and support that is needed to show how great these things are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't understand why all these movies you watch about superstars becoming superstars, whether it be Whitney Houston, New Edition, um, any of these actors and everything, you always hear about how they got screwed so many times to get to the point where they are now, where they end up having to become their own boss, their own business person, because the places that they were screwing them over, because it'll be like, hey, um, you, this job is they're gonna pay you 5,000, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna pay me 5,000. Like, yeah, that's great. All right, you get paid 5,000, but we're gonna get 55,000. And then like, why am I not getting 55? Well, we got to pay for this, we got to take care of this, all this stuff, and they make up all this other stuff, and they get the
Mm-hmm.
money. And these people are becoming rich, while the people other actors are becoming very poor. I heard I don't know if it was you that told me or something I was watching, but the people that were doing Power Rangers, especially the first original cast, I think it was like $200 a week.
That was me. That's got to have been me because I've done extensive research on the Power Rangers. And the fact that any of them, from Billy to Zach to Karen Ashley, the fact that any of them are willing to come back, give them your bank. The fact that any of them are willing to continue to do this, I just don't understand the amount the amount that they were screwed over. Can you imagine being on TV working 15 plus hour shifts in a day to try to bring this kid show to life? And you go home, you can barely pay your rent. Jason and Zach, I'm sorry, I'm using their character names because it's hard for me to find their real names sometimes. But Jason and Zach had to move in together um, in order to be able to afford rent. I don't know what everyone else was doing, but they were trying. They could barely afford their bills. But then they would walk into a store and see their face on everything. Can you imagine how much pain that they were in? I can't even imagine how much they were being screwed over by that. I said it before and I'll say it again. The only great things that Saban did was he was able to bring a show to life that had multi-racial people in it. And that wasn't being done, especially for a kid show. So I do give him his credit where it's due there, because nobody else wanted to do that. But when it came to actually paying them, nah, he was not a good man for that.
I
He
don't
was.
understand. It makes no sense. Like, it makes perfect sense. I want to keep all the money. I'm
Mhm.
gonna pay you the least amount possible. And if you say anything bad about it, I replace you and put new other Rangers in there,
Which
and
is
they'll do it for
exactly
the
what
same
he
amount of
did.
money and not complain about it the way you're complaining about it. I hear all of that. I see why it happens, but why do we have to be that way? Why can't we
Hmm.
sit there and do the most simplistic thing is and work as a team? Can you imagine how much better Power Ranger would be if everybody was in making the money they needed to make and then putting in the effort and time of training the people properly to be able to do more scenes that are been Americanized, as opposed to having to cut to footage from another country, so that way you can get all your shots in, and then putting all that together, and then everyone making a profit, and then you guys pulling that profit, and then you become an executive producer on the show where you can actually make even more money, and then contributing to making sure that your character that we know and love gets done properly. Because I think once you become a character and you become well known for that character, you kind of have a sense of how that character is supposed to be, and then you can actually make sure that that character is doing the right thing. But instead, what they do is they steal your character and say that's not your character, it's a character we created for you, and we'll replace it with somebody else and not give it a second look. And then we're sitting here like, oh, they had to go to a summit. That makes sense why they're not on the show anymore. And I'm like, this don't add up.
No.
Because I remember watching it. You were younger than me, what, 10 years younger. And
Yeah.
I'm like, they got kicked off that show. And you're like, no, no, no. They're in this episode. I said, no, they're showing scenes from an old episode. They're not in this episode. Matter of fact, I don't think they've been in this episode for a while. And then one day they're like, hey, we're going to go to this summit and help out. But I'm like, why aren't we seeing their faces? Why is it like in the background that we're seeing
Mm-hmm.
them? What's going on right here? And I was like, yeah, they got kicked off the show. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what happened. And back then, the internet wasn't good enough for us to be able to figure out what happened, but it's clearly what's happened, and that just takes away, not to Hmm. Not to take away from the people that we ended up getting after the fact, but I'm
Yeah.
just hurt over the fact of making a show grow and making it strong. When you take the I think the reason why people are such big fans of Fast and the Furious series, to piggyback off of that, is because there's someone there who knows who the character is and saying, I'm not going to change this character. And that's what Hollywood would do. Okay, he is great, but what if we killed him off and then his son like gets revenge? Why would you kill him off? Well, we kill him off, it gets more people like upset and it causes more tickets to happen, blah blah blah, because it's about getting the more money. But if you stick with the storyline that has been tried and true and it works, they're raking in the money. They're making more money than some of the Marvel movies and some of the definitely more than the DC movies. And you got
Mm-hmm.
to think about that. And
You
there's
really
only one
do.
person that's steering that ship, which is Vin Diesel. And even some people are like, I don't like the way you steer this ship, so I'm gonna jump off. So then you got Justin Lee, who's like, I'm not doing this no more, and he jumps off. And you have some of the other people that's been on there, and they jump off. But you have to ask yourself the question. I just saw Fast 10, and that mess was going back all the way to Fast 5. Fast 5 is one of my favorite. 7 is my like second favorite, and then now this 10 one might propel me to making that one my most favorite more than 5. That's how good it was. And yet everyone was like, this movie is going to be a bomb. It's going to be a disaster. Justin Lin's not working on it. They don't know what they're doing. There's arguments and fighting in between. The Rock is not going to be a part of the franchise anymore. This thing is going to just be dying in a sunken ship. And then it comes out and it's making more money than The Flash. And then you combine The Flash money with Shazam money, Black Adam money, and then add up Shazam's money. You add up all three of those, and it still made more money than that. All three of them combined, and then you're like, and you're the ones that wanted to change stuff. It's just,
Yeah.
come on, man. There's a formula that works for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Give the people the money, give the people the time, give the people the energy, and I guarantee you'll be making incredible stuff.
Keep talking. I'm sorry. I just realized something. But
James just
yeah.
realized that he's pregnant and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So we're gonna watch live as he figures out what he's gonna do with the kid.
No, it's
Um,
so stupid. For whatever reason, it's not charging. So in between this show and the next, I'm gonna have to figure that out. But while I'm doing that, before I do that, I want to give the full, because the list of demands that the actors want, it's jarring when you think about it, because
read
it's
it.
just like, why have we never thought about this? It's, of course, increased pay is one of them, as well as progress on residuals.
Mm-hmm.
But here are the two that have everyone going, damn, I never really thought about that. Number one is they want increased pay on streams from their movies and TV shows that are going to streaming
Yes.
platforms. They don't see those. But
Yes.
Netflix and Hulu and all these other places are making billions from them.
You know who
And
wanted that first?
ooh,
I'm gonna see if you can guess who actually wanted that first. It's
Monique.
gonna blow your mind. No,
Ooh.
wow. We don't talk about her. We don't talk about Monique. Scarlett Johansson.
Really?
She wasn't getting any streaming money from her Black Widow movie, and because Widow came out during the pandemic, they ended up switching her movie from being in the movie theater to being on the streaming platform. And her check that was supposed to happen that she was supposed to be getting wasn't that check, and she was like, "Why is that?" It's like, "Because we don't pay you for the streaming. We only pay you for what you get in the movie theater." And she was like,
Wow.
"Well, that's not part of my contract." And they're like, "Well, actually, it is part of your contract." So she sued and she won,
Jesus.
that it had to be, because of what was going on with the pandemic. Everything's changing and everything needs to be renegotiated. Because I didn't realize, everyone's like, why does Netflix have so much money? Netflix has so much money because they pay their people garbage, and it's straight garbage. Netflix will do a show that we'll watch, and the actors are getting paid maybe 5,000 for the show, like all the episodes all together. Writers are getting paid maybe 7 or 8 thousand, or probably even less than that. And then Netflix ends up making over, 2, 3 million, sometimes in some cases 15, 20 million, in some cases over 100, 200 million. But yet these actors got paid hardly anything, and I didn't realize that was happening.
That's
Um,
crazy.
And
I
then
didn't
all
even
the
know
other
that.
streaming platforms realize, oh my gosh, like if we just do the movies that way, and people are paying, $10, $20 a month, and we're raking in millions of dollars on a practically on a monthly basis, and we pay our actors this crappy amount, then yeah. So now the people are like, hey, we want to get paid. Well, it started with the people that had a movie that came out like Scarlett Johansson, and it got switched to the streaming platform. They weren't getting their money. Now it's like everybody saying, if my stuff is on streaming, it's just as important as it is on TV. Because it's like, we'll pay you $50,000 when it's on TV. We'll pay you $500 when it streams. That was the negotiation. And back then, you're like, I didn't care because streaming's not important to me. But now
Hmm.
streaming is extremely important, and so now people want their money. But continue.
And then the last one, and I didn't even know about that, but the last one, which I never thought about, um, uh, I'm hoping I'm saying this right. The emergence of AI. If I walk off your set because I'm upset about something, you should not be able to replace me with CGI. You should not be able to replace me with an AI. And they basically are saying that they don't want to be replaced by AI systems, but AI systems are taking over in the industry. And they're saying before this thing gets so big that you are legitimately replacing me or just using my likeness and paying me less because I'm not actually there. Um, that's what they want a negotiation on it. I don't even think that they want a specific thing. They just want a negotiation of that. I don't think that they want it to be um, uh, I don't think they want it to be removed completely. They might, but I don't think they want it to be removed completely. I think they're just saying that there's no negotiation on that yet. But they're already seeing a path where they will be paid less because they're using AI to generate their likeness as opposed to them working on the set by themselves.
That makes sense. The way technology is so weird. There's no such thing as anyone dying anymore, and the big question is, will Paul Walker's likeness show up in the next Fast and the Furious movie? And everyone's thinking that it just might with the way that it's going, because there's no way you can have what's happening in the 10 one and not have Paul Walker show up. But when it comes to people that are actually alive, a good example, I think, Jamie Foxx, when he dealt with his issue, they hired stunt doubles, a little bit of AI and things like that to actually finish the rest of the movie. Um, but will he still get paid what he's supposed to be getting paid? And that becomes the question, because it's not like he walked off the set angry. He was ill. He took ill, and then do you still get the same amount? So then you add on the part that you're talking about. So I don't agree with the script. I'm walking off the stage, and they're like, "Great, see you later." And then you download an app, and like this app will be replacing the person for the rest of the movie. You're like, how is that possible? So it's just, at this point, everything's on the table of negotiation, and I think for the first time ever, actors, writers, people of that nature doing this thing are trying to future proof everything that they're doing, because this new contract that they're going to do needs to be a future proof, because they realize when they didn't care about the streaming, when they didn't care about the AI, this was like a decade ago, everyone was like, it's not important to me, I don't care, I'll do whatever. And like, because it was always like, yeah, Netflix came out with a movie, but it's Netflix, and that's how we saw it. Such and such streaming platform. I think Prime was the next big one. It was like it came out with a movie, but yeah, it's Prime. Like, what do we care? But now it's completely switched, and now you got the famous actors like so and so just did Avatar, and now see them on Netflix do blah blah blah, and you're like, wait, what? And it's just
You
so
start to see
now.
Sandra Bullock is now on Netflix and Will Smith did a movie, and you're just like, whoa, they're getting these big names to do because Netflix doesn't have to go through studios. They're just like, hey, come do a movie with us. And you're just like, okay, great, like, wow,
So
wow.
yeah, I am at the point where I am for the writers first, the actors second. Um, and I hope they get everything they want. I really do. Until then, they can take as long as they need to, because we'll get more famous in that time. And then when they haven't worked out, we'll get paid. So,
Very true. This is
uh,
the time for creators, man, because by the end of this year, everything's going to be reruns.
it, I'll be honest, everything already is. Every show that I watch is done. And it's been done for a couple of months. And my issue has been that I can't watch. Like, I watch YouTube like nobody's business. I watch YouTube like I watch TV shows. I go to YouTube and I'll watch, like, the Daily Show, and I'll watch that. And then, like, the late night talk shows, I'll watch that on YouTube, and I'll
Yeah.
only get the gist of what's going on. But there hasn't been any of those in months. And I'm like, well, what do I watch? So because of that, I'm taking a deeper dive into certain things. I got into people that are doing cruise videos, people that are reviewing videos, people that are doing things like that we're doing right here. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
finding myself watching that because there's literally nothing else. It's either that or watch old movies, or in the new case, it's either that or I get to watch Black Adam, Flash, or Shazam. Those are my choices, and I'm like, I'm good.
But the
So
greatest part about it is the fact that you're finding these facets and these nooks and crannies of the internet where they have these things where people are doing reactions and people are doing uh what's it podcasts and reviews and things like that. But here's the thing: there's an audience for it. The audience is already there. And that's the coolest part about it for me, is to go on to these facets and find out, wow, people are actually already, you don't have to drum up energy for this stuff. It's already there. People are already doing it, and they were doing it. And it takes moments like this to realize that everyone's attention is going to shift on this type of stuff. So if you're not already into it, and if you're not already have a plan to get into it as programming ends, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to put your stuff out there. Now's the time
yes.
to do it, because all eyes are going to be on those streaming platforms. All eyes
Yep.
are going to be on reality shows. All eyes are going to be on YouTube. And every single time you think YouTube is down and out, something like this happens. Puts them right back at number one.
I wonder if that's how they planned it.
That probably. I mean, they have YouTube Red, which is you can pay for it, but even if you don't pay for it, those streams that these content creators are getting, they're eating it up. And then you have,
YouTube Premium. I don't know
yeah,
what YouTube Red is. It sounds
I
like
think I think it's just
inappropriate site.
YouTube Premium. I think is you pay more and it takes the ads away. YouTube Red is they have their own paid for channel, which so their
Oh,
top creators, they have them make those reality shows, and they pay them a bunch of money to create their own shows. So now you're getting specific and exclusive content from the same creators that you watch every day.
hmm. We'll have
And
to look into that.
yes, and I don't know. I just feel like now the time. You got Corey Kenshin showing up in freaking the new Fast Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which makes sense because that man put Five Nights at Freddy's on the map, and he's friends. He is friends with the creator of the game, the original game, and literally from back and forth of them talking, the dude was like, "I'm gonna send you my game if you can play it on your platform." And then he played it, and then his other friends that are also content creators played it. Next thing you know, all of the reactioners started to play Five Nights at Freddy's. Now we're on game 7 or 8. Now it's one of the biggest franchise in the country, and now they're about to do a movie. Who else would you put in your movie? Like, it's just these content creators
How much
are
did he get paid?
nothing. Probably they're
You
probably
don't
like, "Hey, come on the show
you
and
think
come
he's
on
even
it."
in the movie for more than 5 minutes?
No. But it's a nice thing to see. It's a nice start to someone recognizing that YouTubers aren't just YouTubers. They are actually writers. They are actually directors. They are actually producers, executive producers. They
Hmm.
are cameramen. They are, wardrobe and lighting. They are everything that they have, and that people are getting paid millions and millions of dollars on a set, or not getting paid, as we are finding out. They've been doing it for years for change, and that's got to end. These people need to be paid just as much as the people that we see on freaking streaming services like Hulu or Netflix or anything else, because people like me watch YouTube as a show just like I would Abbott Elementary or anything on the other streaming platforms.
Cool. Well, we can
That's
end
my
it
rant.
there. It's a good rant to end on. Davis, as always, I appreciate you always coming on and doing an episode. But that's our time. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. 'Cause I don't think I ever really say that on this channel at all, but we'll see how that goes. And I have not been tagging these episodes, so my goal now is to start tagging these episodes so we can actually get more views on here and then actually start increasing what we're trying to do. It's just us having a conversation, enjoying ourselves, and we hope you guys can just take that journey with us and enjoy the content as we get ourselves together. Hopefully, each episode is getting better than the last. Sound quality, video quality. So we'll see how it goes. But as always, thank you guys every much. Thank you guys very much for watching, and stay tuned for when we do another episode sometime in a week or two. Take it
Bye,
easy.
you guys.